Good day, viewers. Good day, viewers. Welcome to Mathematician tutorial. Today, we'll be looking into number system and how numbers are being classified. Many students don't actually know that there are ways numbers are being classified. From the screen of your phone now, you can see that number is classified into two, which are real number and complex number. But under the real number, there are numerous types of number under the real number from your screen here. But complex number doesn't have any subdivision, which implies that we don't actually use complex number. Now, let's go to real number now. Numbers under real number are what? Rational number and non-rational number. Now, let's look at the example of real number. The example of real number, they are 1. According to the little example I cited here, they are 1, 0.5, 1 over 2, etc. Not only that, any number that comes to your mind, they are real number. Any number you can think of, they are all real number. So real number is divided into two, which they are rational number and non-rational number. You can also call the non-rational number irrational number. You can also call the non-rational number irrational number. Now, let us go to rational number. From the word ration, what comes to your mind? Ratio. From the screen of your phone, you can see ratio simply means fraction. Yes, decimal can also be expressed as ratio. Look at the first example I cited here as 1 over 5. 1 over 5 under rational number. 1 over 5 can be expressed as what? 1 ratio 5. Another example I cited here is what? 0.7. 0.7 can also be expressed as fraction, and that is what? 7 over 10, which is still the same thing as 7 ratio 10. I wrote 3, ordinary 3 here as my third example. 3 can also be 3 over 1, which is the same thing as 3 ratio 1. I also wrote 2. 2 can also be 2 over 1, which still means the same thing as what? The same thing as 2 ratio 1. And my last example under rational number is radical 4, known as root 4, square root of 4. And square root of 4 is absolutely what? 2, which can still be 2 over 1. And that still means 2 ratio 1. So, fraction, decimal, and what? And a root of a number that you can actually get the whole number of that root, such as root 9, root 16, root 25, and so on. Whereby when you find the root, you will actually get a whole number. It is also a rational number. Now, let's go to non-rational number. Example of non-rational number, they are what? Root 2, root 3, root 5, root 7, root 6. As you can see, those roots I'm saying, when you press them in your calculator, they will give you like a decimal point, like 6 point something, 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 something. So they are non-rational number. And also, when you look at a constant such as pi, pi on its own is a what? Is a non-rational number. Ln 2 is a non-rational number because they are constant. Exponential is also a non-rational number because they are constant. Yes, 22 over 7 on its own is a rational number. But when you are given ordinary pi, it simply means that it is now a constant, which is a non-rational number. Now, let's move to rational number now. It has two divisions, which they are what? Integers and non-integers. Now, look at the integers. The example under integers, they are what? 1, 2, minus 5, minus 3, etc. And the non-integer, they are what? 7.5, 1 over 5 is 0.7, based on what I cited here as my examples. Now, it's like as if we are dividing this rational number into two. It's like as if we are dividing these rational numbers into two. Integer simply means that a whole number like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. It can also be negative, such as -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. So, but when it comes to fraction, checking your number line, when it comes to fraction, integer is not a fraction, and integers are also not a what? A decimal. Now, what of non-integer? Non-integer is now fraction and decimal. Non-integer is now fraction and what? And decimal. Now, let's move to the non-rational as well. There are two, which they are what? Radical and the transcendent. The radical, they are the what? Root 3, root 2, root 5, root 7, root 6, root 8, root 11, root 10, and so on. While the transcendent, they are the what? They are the constants, such as pi, ln 2, exponential, and some other ones. Now, let's now move to integer now. Don't forget that I said it earlier, that integers, they are what? Integers, they are positive, 0, and negative, which they are of whole number. Don't write decimal and fractions as integer. Decimal and fractions, they are not integer. They are not integers. So now, under integers, we have positive, 0, and negative. Now, what are the positive? Starting from 1, 2. 1.1, 1.2, it is a non-integer. It is a non-integer. But integers, they are positive integers, they are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. 0, and the negative integers, they are what? -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and so on. Now, let's look at the non-integers now. Non-integers can be expressed as what? Fraction. Yes, fraction. Don't forget that 1/2 is still the same thing as what? 0.5. So 5/7, it can also be expressed as 0. That would be 0. Is it not 7? When dividing with calculator. 8/6 can also be expressed as what? Fraction. So, and I said it earlier that a non-integer is fraction and what? And decimal. Fraction and decimal. Now, let me move to the positive integers. Positive integers. Positive integers is into 4. Positive integers are into 4, which they are what? Odd number, even number, prime number, and composite. Odd number, even number, prime number, and composite. Now, you all know odd numbers. That's starting from your 1, 3, 5, 9, 11, etc. Even numbers, they are what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. While prime number, they are numbers that what? That can be divided by 1 and what? And itself, which is 2. Don't mix it up. 1 is not a prime number. 1 is not a prime number, because if you divide 1 by 1, yes, and itself is still 1, that means it is not, 1 is not obeying the definition of prime number, but 2 is a prime number, because 2 is obeying the definition of prime number, such as if you divide 2 by 1, it is still what? 2. If you divide 2 by 2, that is itself, it is still 1. So 2 is a prime number. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and so on. Why composite number? Composite, they are numbers that have more than 2 factors. Composite numbers are numbers that have more than 2 factors. It is just like it is just like I'm saying the opposite of prime number. You know, prime number has only 2 factors, which are what? 1 and itself. But composite, it has more than 1 factor. But composite has more than 1 factor, such as 4. Look at 4. 4 has 3 factors, which they are 1, 2, and itself, which is 4. 6 also have more than 1 factor. Now, let's now go to fraction. Fraction is broken down into 2, which is decimal and percentage. Look at decimal, 0.5. 0.5 can still be expressed as 5/10. You can see, which is still a fraction back. And 0.7 can still be 7/10, same thing as fraction. Why percentage? Percentage can also be expressed as what? Fraction, because 7% is same thing as 7/100. 55% is still the same thing as 55/100. And 100% is still the same thing as 100/100, which simply means 1/1. So please study these numbers very well. They are very important, and don't mix them up. So this is the classification of numbers. Don't forget to comment on our section button, share this video so that other students too can learn as well, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you so much and God bless you.